Today's episode of 90s Music Explains Life is titled Why My Own Worst Enemy is the Most Relatable Song Ever Written. There's a moment in life when you wake up, look around, and realize something terrible has happened. Your phone has messages you don't remember sending. Your friends are texting you things like, dude, are you okay? And somewhere in your brain you know you did something. Something chaotic, something embarrassing, something that makes you realize you might actually be your own worst enemy. And somehow, a late 90s rock song explained this perfectly. Today, we're breaking down why My Own Worst Enemy by Lit might be the most honest song written ever about human behavior. And by the end of this video, you may realize this song is actually explaining something much deeper about why humans sabotage themselves. Let's set the table for the morning after moment. The song opens with one of the most relatable lines ever written. Without even hearing the music, the lyrics immediately tell a story, a chaotic one, a confusing one, and a very familiar one, because the entire song is built around a single moment in time, the moment and morning after a bad decision. Everyone has had one, maybe not with a car in the front yard, but definitely with that moment of realization when your brain slowly starts replaying the previous night piece by piece, and the scariest part, you realize something important. No one forced you to do any of this. You did it yourself. And that sets the table for the universal human problem. There's actually a psychological reason this song resonates with people. Because every human brain has two competing systems. System one is rational. It plans. It thinks about consequences. It wants stability. But system two wants chaos. It wants excitement. It wants impulse. And sometimes System 2 wins. When that happens, you wake up the next day and realize something uncomfortable. You didn't lose control, you gave it away. And that sets the table for why this song works so well. A lot of songs talk about love. A lot of songs talk about heartbreak. But this song is different because it talks about something people rarely admit: self-sabotage. Not because someone else ruined things, not because of bad luck, but because we sometimes destroy our own situations. And the genius of this song is how it casually captures that. The lyrics don't sound dramatic, they sound confused, almost like someone trying to piece together their own actions, which makes it even more believable. And that sets the table for the car in the front yard moment. One of the most famous lines in the song describes waking up and seeing something unexpected. Your car is somewhere it shouldn't be. The line is funny, but it's also symbolic, because life is full of those moments. Moments where we look at our situation and think, how did this happen? But if we rewind the story far enough, we usually find the same answer. A small decision, followed by another, until suddenly your car is in the metaphorical front yard. And that sets the table for the window line. Another lyric describes coming in through the window, which is a strange detail until you realize what it represents: avoiding responsibility. Sometimes people literally sneak in through the window, but more often we do it mentally. We try to pretend something didn't happen. We try to avoid the consequences. We tell ourselves, it wasn't that bad, but deep down, we know the truth. And that sets the table for why everyone relates to this. The reason this song has lasted decades is simple: it describes a universal experience. Everyone has had a moment where they realize they caused their own problem. Not on purpose, not maliciously, just through a series of bad decisions. And when people hear the line about being their own worst enemy, they don't argue with it, they recognize it. And that sets the table to the internet making this worse. What's interesting is that this song came out before social media existed, but somehow it perfectly predicts modern behavior. Today, people sabotage themselves publicly. They post things they regret. They say things online they shouldn't. They start arguments they didn't need to start, and the next morning, they wake up to a digital version of the same realization. What did I do? In a strange way, this song was describing internet behavior years before the internet became chaotic. And that sets the table to brutal honesty. Most songs blame someone else: an ex, a rival, a bad situation. But this song does something rare. It accepts responsibility. It admits the problem might actually be internal. That level of honesty is uncomfortable, but it's also why the song feels so real. Because people know the truth. Sometimes the biggest obstacle in your life is you. And that sets the table for the hidden message. The hidden message of this song isn't just about chaos, it's about awareness, recognizing the pattern, recognizing the moment when impulse takes over, and realizing something important. If you can identify the problem, you might actually be able to change it, which means being your own worst enemy doesn't have to last forever. The real reason this song works is because it turns an embarrassing moment into something universal. It reminds us that everyone makes mistakes, everyone has chaotic moments, everyone wakes up sometimes wondering what they were thinking. But those moments don't define who you are. They just remind you that being human means sometimes fighting your own instincts and sometimes losing that fight. If this song ever reminded you of a moment in your life, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy breaking down music lyrics in unexpected ways, make sure to like the video and subscribe, because there are a lot more songs out there that explain life better than you might think. And I'll see you in the next episode.